This an independent track, bang, sucker.
What's up, everyone? And welcome. You are tuning in to my very first podcast. My name is Alan Garcia, and this is what I like to call Local Look, a podcast that will be covering what is happening in our lovely small town of Cudahy, California. For those of you that don't know, the city elections are well underway, and with our president being who he is, it is crucial that we vote in someone who won't bend to Trump's will, especially on the issue of immigration. We have heard stories of ICE already conducting raids, and just this Monday, Trump supporters were in numbers at Cudahy's council meeting that was eventually stopped due to the chaos. In just a few moments, we will be talking to former mayor and current city council member for the city of Cudahy, Cristian Markovich. Before I bring him on, just a little bit about myself. I am a 30-year resident of the city of Cudahy, and some of you might know me from my performances with Know Your Enemy, tribute to Rage Against the Machine. That's actually a big reason why I decided to start this podcast. Rage Against the Machine has been a huge influence on me, what they say, what they stand for. For those of you who aren't familiar with Rage Against the Machine, here's a little clip of what they're about.
Brothers and sisters, a couple things we want to say right quick. A couple things. Rage Against the Machine is a band that has never advocated violence. We've always advocated a direct opposition to unjust wars like the one started by John McCain and the Republicans and Bush and all of them. That's why we're here today, to stand in peaceful opposition. Now, in honor of that peaceful opposition, we wish that the police and the state here in Minneapolis would do the same thing. Damn right. People take to the streets. Damn right. And the reality is, four musicians from Los Angeles who have used our voices and our talent and our musicianship and our words to stand up against these unjust policies. And why the fuck are these cops so afraid of us? Are they afraid of us? Yeah! No! Afraid of us. They're not afraid of four musicians. They're afraid of you.
Hey, one second. I've got 1 second, everybody. I've got a message for the police who kept us on the stage tonight. Now, I suspect that some of the police may actually even be fans of Rage Against the Machine. I suspect that some of the police come from working class and middle class backgrounds like we do and like you do. I suspect that the cops here today have much more in common with this band, with you people, than the people of the RNC. So before this weekend is over, they may turn their batons and their tear gas and their rubber bullets against us. But it's my hope that they realize that we all have something in common, and one day very soon they turn those batons and tear gas and rubber bullets against those jackasses over at the RNC.
And there you have it. That was Zach De La Rocha, frontman of Rage Against the Machine, with guitarist Tom Morello. Of course, at the 2008 Republican National Convention, the band goes on to perform a cappella versions of their hit songs Bulls on Parade and Killing in the Name, which was pretty awesome to see an entire crowd of people singing their songs with no music background. So we fast forward to now, February 2017. The sitting president attempts to pass an unconstitutional Muslim ban, wants to defund Planned Parenthood, spends his days tweeting unreliable information, wants to punish local governments that don't comply with federal authorities in regards to sanctuary cities, and we are now allowing the president and his staff to use a thing called alternative facts. Now, normally, we shrug this off as the right-wing conservatives doing what they do, but the behavior at Trump rallies has now spilled into the town I grew up in and love very much. And I am in direct opposition of our small city becoming the circus that the White House has become in the last month. So with that being said, I welcome Cristian Markovich.
Cool. Hey, what's going on, man? Nothing much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you are officially the first guest that I've ever had on my first ever podcast. So, hold on, I think I got some effects for that. Hold on. So, thank you once again, everybody out there, for tuning in, man. We're here. Yeah, how are you, man? Any opening statements from you or anything you want to say before we get into these hard-hitting questions?
No, nothing much. Just for full disclosure, I've known Alan for years. We grew up together in early high school up until now, so that's like a good 15, 16, maybe almost 17 years now.
Almost a whole Donald Trump presidency.
Oh, yeah. Week 3, for those of you keeping score at home, this is week 3 of the Trump administration, so...
I think I got something from that. Oh, wait, no.
That's not it.
No, not for Trump, sorry.
So, I just, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no
we'll
problem.
See how this goes.
So, the basic idea of this is, I'm going to ask you some questions about what Cudahy has been going through and what we might see in the future. But yeah, hopefully people are tuning in tonight, and yeah, just basically start getting involved in what's going on in your city, man. If you care, and if you're too young, maybe you think you're too young, talk to your parents or something. Maybe you can raise your concerns with them, and they can then raise it with the city council members and that. So yeah, basically that's the idea here. We want to spread some awareness. We want to let people know that people out there do care, man, and I do care for people to get the information that we need. As Christian said, we've known each other for a long time, so I guess we've been on the same side of the fight. Although he's obviously has been the mayor before and now sits in the city council, which is amazing. So that being said, Chris, what does the future of Cudahy look like?
The future of Cudahy looks pretty bright. As long as we stay the course that we've been going on for the past couple years, we'll be able to finally lay down some projects and finish some projects that we're currently working on, so that we can not only attract businesses but also attract the right kind of businesses. Because I'm of the mind that I want economic development in my city, and I want our city to look good and to be nice, but at the same time I don't want to gentrify it as well. The last thing I would want to do is open up a restaurant that sells $25 tacos and just squeezes out all the mom and pop stores.
Of course,
I want to be able to foster some sort of, keep that sense of community that makes Cudahy, and that keeps the Southeast with its current identity without it being stripped away like we've seen in other parts of Los Angeles, where you have like venues and other places that were like really cool and authentic being shut down and being taken over by just corporations, and I don't want people to get misconstrued that all businesses and corporations are bad. Like, you definitely have some good ones out there that have the worker in mind and giving back to the community, and there are definitely some that are just in it for the profit, to stay with the owners and things like that. So that's probably a whole nother topic for another day.
Yeah, because I just had a bunch of questions in my mind right now, but we're gonna get really detailed, and that's probably not where we want to go.
But we have some grants that we're able to score, so that we could not only attract the right kind of businesses, but also fix our roads, do some landscaping in our community, I'd add some bike lanes, just all kinds of stuff.
All right, awesome, great. So that's the future, what we're looking forward to. Now, talk to me about the progress that you've been a part of since you were elected mayor and then took a seat now as a council member. What have you been a part of? What are you proud of? And what are some things some projects that you've been a part of that have been close to you and that you have affected directly?
Some of the projects that I'm most proud of are the Clara Park expansion project that we have. Excuse me. And the total, not only expansion, but the rehabilitation of Lugo Park. on Otis Street.
Which
Otis
looks
Avenue
amazing, by the
in
way.
Cudahy.
Great job with that.
Thank you. Like, if you guys grew up in Cudahy, you know that Lugo Park used to be just one big, massive dirt
Right.
lot. And now it's been rebuilt from the ground up. Restrooms are totally fixed up. And we've been able to have that park open to the community almost non-stop since it's been reopened almost a year ago. And people have just been super responsive to it. They love it. And we want to be able to do more things like that in our community. And another thing that I'm most proud of is during my mayorship, we were able to rebrand the city and to bring positive publicity for the first time in decades.
Right.
In Cudahy.
Positive.
Exactly.
Because
Like,
we've been known for some pretty horrible things, some scandals, and it's hard to get rid of that reputation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on during my time while I was in the mayor seat. And we were able to get Vista LA to do a video piece on us. We were able to get a positive story in the LA Times and on Univision. So it was great, and we were able to finally turn the corner on all that stuff that happened before. And yeah, that's just something I'm really passionate and proud about.
So, Chris, now that you have a greater sense of what goes on in the city, what do you believe are some of the issues the city still faces?
For starters, the city faces a massive, understaffed city hall. And I think that once we're able to finally turn the corner economically, like once we get the economic development stuff coming in, and we're able to get more revenue for the city itself to become more sustainable, we'll be able to pack City Hall with more bodies and hire more people so that we could get a lot of the day-to-day stuff taken care of. Because right now, we have at most maybe 4 full-time staff members and several part-timers underneath them. And that's everything that goes into running the city, whether it's public records requests.
Which is something actually that I tried to do, and they said they weren't going to be ready for me in time to even start this podcast, which was weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, we're critically understaffed, which is unfortunate because they're in there working 12-hour shifts trying to get the job done on the daily. And if we had just a few more people in there, we could get that one person that all they do is public records requests, or they get the other person all they do is engineering and planning and the press releases and things like that, like what a regular city has. And by regular city, I mean like a full,
functioning city.
A functioning city. Like right now, we have a lot of great people at City Hall, and they bust their bodies and their brains on the daily. And unfortunately, if something goes bad, it's their fault and they suck. But they're just like us. Their moms, their dads. This is probably not their only job. And when they do it, it takes time away from their families. It takes time away from their kids. So, I appreciate what they do, but they need help. They can't do it alone with what they got. And if we could get some economic development happening, get some revenue for the city, and bam, we could hire more people within the next couple years, then that would be legit. That's one of the things that we face on top of everything else, like economic development, potholes, water quality, like anything else.
Yeah.
But like the city itself, the City Hall, how understaffed it is.
What would kind of be a good idea is now that we have a lot more youth in our city council. You did a piece with Univision about you being 30 and mayor, or around 30 and mayor. What if we start offering maybe like some internships to some of our students at ELC who want to see how the work is done, what goes into the day-to-day of Cudahy, when they graduate, then they already know kind of what goes on in the city council or what goes on in the city, and they'll be interested to maybe even join city council or be mayor one day also.
For sure, and we do already have a lot of internships and mentorships going on. Unfortunately, they're unpaid internships, so that's kind of one of the things that that makes people hesitant.
Right,
when it
people
comes
want to go make
interning.
money.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So we do have some college interns and some high school folk in there, but we just need more. You know, we need people that'll get hired and that want to stay for a long time.
All right, cool. I want to get to kind of like the big, well, for those who are in the know, the elephant in the room. But BuzzFeed was present at the most recent Cudahy Council meeting, which was this Monday. We saw some footage that we're used to seeing at Trump rallies during this campaign. A lot of anti-illegal immigration, xenophobic rhetoric. But now it's in our backyard. They showed up in numbers with offensive signs. It got so chaotic that the meeting was canceled. Halfway through, they were using those good old alternative facts during debates outside. They even trolled the BuzzFeed reporter all the way to her car after they interrupted a few of the conversations she was trying to have with the locals. And of course, the awesome Hail Trump salute by the young man right outside the council meeting parking lot there towards the end before she left. How do you respond to this group? How are they hindering the process of what you try to get done in the council meetings?
The way you respond to this group is by not legitimizing what they say or what they have to offer. Because at the end of the day, I know that what I do is in the best interest in the city. And I know that for the most part, I can't speak for everyone on council, but the people that I work closely with, I could see it in their eyes, and I could hear it in their voice that they do everything they can for the best interest of the city and for its people. And the minute that you fall into their trap of rhetoric and lies, they use that to coerce a response from you. And when they do that, they won. Because they'll pull you in, and then they'll get you angry, and then you feel like you're compelled to respond to their signs and their salutes about how Mexicans are taking up space, and they want to sweep out the Mexican trash from Cudahy, and they want to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's unfortunate that these people came into our town and they try to speak on our behalf. And another thing that we need to do is encourage people to come out and show that Cudahy isn't just full of dumb, ignorant, quote-unquote Mexicans. You know, you can't just paint Latinos with the same brushstroke. You know, someone from El Salvador is not the same person from Guatemala or from Nicaragua or from Colombia or from Argentina or Peru. Like, you can't do that. Can't do that. And when they wrap themselves in the flag and try to say that they are being patriotic Americans, that it couldn't be further from the truth. These people are scared, they're angry at something, and they try to take it out on those that they fear, which turns out to be the marginalized and working class Latinos that live in Cudahy. And the reason why they're so angry and they come out to our meetings is because we declared ourselves a sanctuary city under Chris Garcia's mayorship a few years ago now. Like, they didn't really know what Cudahy was until they started going to the Huntington Park City Council meetings after they appointed 2 undocumented residents to volunteer their time on the city's commissions. And then when they got wind about who we were and what we were doing, they didn't like that, and they decided to come down to our meetings.
Became an all-out assault on sanctuary cities after that, basically.
Yeah, and when you try to promote the facts about what Cudahy is and what our sanctuary policy does for our town, they won't hear it. They don't want to know that Cudahy is one of the safest cities in the entire state. They don't want to know that crime has dropped exponentially. And, I mean, we actually grew up in Cudahy.
Yes, we
knew what it was like back in the 90s.
I tell this story all the time, actually. So, you know, me and my brother used to take the same route to go to school all the time, you know. And there was several times where we had to pass a certain corner, which is there where the 99-cent store was, and there would always be, 18th Street or whatever gangsters were there at the time, just waiting on the corner and waiting to take kids' jewelry, because my brother's necklace got stolen on that corner, and we're like, yeah, I guess we're not walking to school anymore or going another way, but there was no other way to go. This Cudahy is so small; those guys were everywhere.
Right.
So I mean, anyone. That's why I tell people, yo, man, I've lived in Cudahy for 30 years. I lived there for 30 years, and I knew what it was like before you guys came in, and the change has been incredible, and just it's a way safer place than it used to be.
Right. I mean, the fact that I could walk around the block with my wife at 6:45 in the evening says a lot. Because back in the day, like you said, if you were going somewhere, you either drove or you ran because you didn't want to get stopped by anyone or get asked questions like, where are you from, or what are you doing, and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's not uncommon to partner with the police department to show them where the bad guys are, because everyone wants to be able to do the same thing. They want to be able to go to the park. They want to be able to jog around their community. They want to be able to take their son or daughter on a bike ride. Like, everyone wants to be able to do the same thing, and you can't do that if you're scared to call the cops, which is what the Sanctuary City thing was all about. After we were able to finally tell people, like, it's safe to call the police, you will not get deported, you are here to stay, we had so many more calls coming in, and it ranged from domestic violence to child abuse to just non-violent crimes and things like that. So like I don't know about you, but I don't want guys that are beating their wives to still live in our town.
Not at all.
We want them to call the cops. We want the wives or the sons or the daughters to be able to call the cops to ask for help. And at the end of the day, that's what it was all about.
And you guys work closely with the police department too, and they're in favor of sanctuary cities, are they not?
Yes, the LA County Sheriff's Department is a sanctuary police department, and LA County is a sanctuary county, as well as LA City. So like, it's not uncommon in California, at least, to have these sanctuary policies so that we could have safer streets and better policing. Because when we took over after the whole corruption scandal, we didn't want old school cop tactics to be in our town. Like, we didn't want them to start bashing windows or kicking down doors. We wanted to invite people out of their homes and have neighborhood watch programs and neighborhood watch meetings in their community. It wasn't any more of the let's go to Clara Park and raffle off a toaster or a microwave like they used to. We wanted to go out to the neighborhoods, invite people out, and say, look, this is the city council, this is your sergeant, this is your captain, this is your lieutenant. They are here on the daily. Let's hear what you have to say. And they would say, we need, a speed bump here, or those guys are selling pot, those guys are dealing drugs, these people are doing X, Y, and Z. And it wasn't until we started going out there we finally heard these issues, because a lot of people also thought that it costs money to call the cops, and it doesn't cost them a dime. Like, all they need to do is be, and they could even report stuff anonymously. It's not like the cops are going to say, they're going to knock on your neighbor's door and say, hey, yeah, so-and-so called us and said that you're doing, shady stuff. Like, that's not the way it works.
Right.
It's totally anonymous. It's your tax dollars pay for it. And at the end of the day, it'll make stuff safer around town. Another thing I want to mention about sanctuary cities is that a lot of people have the misconceived notion that we let criminals slide on things that they do.
Like, it's a free pass for anyone
exactly.
who's illegal.
And it's not. If you're undocumented and you do a crime, you're gonna get busted by the cops. Like, it's not like only Americans are gonna get arrested or get a ticket or get fined or get prosecuted. And if you're undocumented and you do spousal abuse or any sort of other crime, you're just asking to get caught. So that's basically what I wanted to mention as well.
Good point. So another thing I wanted to get into is somebody recently said they were going to start petitioning for you to be recalled. So as someone who grew up in Cudahy his entire life, did good in school, went off to college, commuted to college from Cudahy still, and is now back trying to make a positive change. How does this make you feel, and do you have a response to anyone who would like to see you gone? And what does this do to your political spirit in general?
Good question. I think that I went into politics with an open mind and and with the community in mind when I went into it. Before I became a politician, I was an activist during the Bush administration, where I was a member of the Answer Coalition. I was a member of the Green Party for a number of years, and I was a part of the movement before I became a politician. And a lot of people feel that the minute I became a politician, and I say politician because I am a policy maker. I make policy for my city, and we roll that policy out, and that becomes law. And that's what I mean by politician. And a lot of people think when I say I'm a politician, I'm some sort of evil cog in this corrupt machine. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I am a local guy that has a day job. I have a wife. I'm trying to start a family. I'm an average person, right? And everything I do, like I said, it's always with the community in mind. So with that being said, when someone says that we want to recall you and get you out of office, it can be frustrating, because all the things that I've done has always been with Cudahy in mind. Whether it was my recent meetings with Habitat for Humanity, where they gave hundreds of dollars of furniture and appliances to a family in need in Cudahy, that was something I wanted to do, and we were able to get it done for that family. Or whether it was the citizenship workshop, where our buddy Mario had his mom and dad become Americans without having to worry about the cost of hiring a lawyer or going through that process. That is something I wanted to bring to the city, and we're able to get it done for the city. It's not like when they say corrupt and recall and all this stuff, like, I don't even know what that means. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I've always done what was best, and I still do. It's not like I've stopped. Where I've always done what's best for the city, and I'm going to keep doing it. And if they recall me, then so be it. It'll be unfortunate, and at the end of the day, it'll be Cudahy and its people that will lose out. But I'm going to keep going. In my head, I still have 2 more years in office. I am going to keep going for those next few years. It's not like when I stopped, after I got reelected, or elected for the first time by the people, I closed out my committees. I have not fundraised $1 in almost a year. And a lot of people think like I'm still fundraising and I'm cashing checks and all this other stuff. The only check that I cash, it says either City of Cudahy or Glendora Unified School District, where I work. It's not like I'm getting all of these sweet deals in smoke-filled rooms. Like, that's a myth. And then we hear people that give out accusations saying that the FBI is watching you guys, and they gave me documents and all this other stuff. The FBI is not in the business of giving anyone a heads up. If they were going to bust someone, I would already be in jail. They don't mess around. So I got nothing to hide. I've done nothing wrong. If they want to recall me, if they want to gather enough signatures to go through that process, then that's fine. I respect that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep working for the city of Cudahy and its people.
So that kind of brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, and this is just going to be completely off the cuff. I wasn't even planning on asking you about this, but your city council, you aren't, if you do any critical thinking, it's obvious you guys aren't being corrupt. I mean,
you're not rolling around in an expensive car because you're not taking money from so-and-so or whatever. And, it's obvious. It's obvious. So where are these people getting this information, and why are they coming out?
Your guess is as good as mine. I feel that if they... What's frustrating is that I hear people say that they have evidence and they got proof and they are going to the district attorney's office. Mm-hmm. And I've been hearing this for the better part of a few years now. Mm-hmm. Whether it was one of my colleagues that has said it for years now, or newcomers that are coming into Cudahy saying that they're going to recall or they have evidence and all this other jazz. And at the end of the day, you're only doing a disservice to justice if you sit back and wait for the right time to drop any sort of proof. Mm-hmm. My wife and I talked about it, and I've said it in other places. If I find out anyone is breaking the law, I'm not going to wait and wait for the opportune moment to drop evidence or report any wrongdoing.
Right.
I'm going to do it immediately, if not sooner. Mm-hmm. I'm going to drop what I'm doing, and I'm going to go show the evidence to whoever I need to show the evidence to. And the fact that they give you a heads up and say, hey, Markovich, work with me. I have evidence here. This is your only chance. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you had proof that I was breaking the law, then what are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm. So I want to move away from all the scandals, and let's talk about something that's happening very soon, and that's the city elections, which are coming up in about March.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you see running for city council that you like, and who are you throwing your support for?
I am supporting Councilmember Chris Garcia's re-election effort, mm-hmm. and his running mate Martin Fuentes.
Okay.
I have gotten a chance to work with Chris a lot since I was appointed to City Council in 2013, and I have seen his passion for the community through social justice, through different reforms that he's spearheaded, and he's always put Cudahy first, even though we have not seen eye to eye on a lot of issues. He's always given me the respect and benefit of the doubt, has heard out my concerns, and the other way around. When I was mayor, he hasn't always agreed with me on some of my initiatives, but I heard him out. He was respectful. If you give respect, you get respect. And I've always gotten respect from Chris. And we're able to work together, move a lot of initiatives forward for the city, being able to work as a team. And that's the most important thing when it comes to leading a city and leading change, is being a part of a team, working with the community, trying to not just tout your resume or show or try to prove that you're the smartest guy in the room. It's all about being a collaborative effort when it comes to running a city. And that is also why I'm supporting Martin Fuentes. He has been a city commissioner for a number of years now. He has a vision for the city. He has a lot of great ideas when it comes to economic development and being able to keep businesses in the city as well as attract new ones. He has been able to work with us and talk with us through his commission post, and it's the same deal. We heard his concerns. He hears our perspective. We have respect for each other, and it makes sense. They are the most qualified team for the position. And if you ever had a chance to talk to them, you could tell that, you could see it in their eyes that they are so passionate for the city. They want to be the change, and they want to continue the progress that we've started so that we can continue to move the city forward. Even with all this craziness with all the craziness that's been going on with We the People Rising, coming into Cudahy, and the distractions that Councilmember Guerrero tries to throw in to the mix, we are able to still have a goal. We are able to see the light that we want to go towards, and Chris and Martin are the team that will propel us in that direction.
So we talk about, well, you just talked about how, being a cohesive unit, whether there's disagreements or not, but it's still important to work together. Tell me how hard it's been to work with someone like Jack Guerrero in the city council.
Oh, man. It's been difficult because of a variety of issues. When I first got appointed to council, Jack was a very easy person to speak with because he was mayor, I feel. And the minute that the rotation happened, where every year you get a new council member that becomes mayor, the minute that he was no longer in that position, it became a very hostile and tense environment to work on city council. And the minute that that took place, it became almost to the point where Councilman Guerrero would speak down to you, becomes very condescending, tries to use convoluted language to wrap a very simple idea in
Fancy Harvard talk.
Fancy Harvard talk. And what I don't appreciate is how he has been not only disrespectful and disruptive on council, but how he has been openly lying to the community during his campaign. I received notice from a good friend that his campaign has been saying that Councilman Guerrero was behind the sanctuary city policy in Cudahy, as well as all the other initiatives and a lot of the other progress that the council and Chris Garcia, namely, spearheaded. And if you look at the voting record, Councilman Guerrero abstained from Cudahy being a sanctuary city. Abstention does not mean you voted in favor of anything. It means you chose not to vote. It shows that you are trying to not have a voice in that conversation. Whether I would have more respect for him if he voted no, to be honest.
Right.
But the fact that he is going around and having his people say that he is responsible for the sanctuary city policy is absurd and insulting, because he has openly received support from groups that come into our council meetings and openly bash our sanctuary city policy and openly bash the undocumented community in Cudahy,
right,
calling them illegals and calling them just less than human, is not just obscene, but just completely disrespectful. And if I were Councilmember Guerrero and I was receiving support and praise from this group, I would tell them thanks but no thanks. I do not want your support. But the fact that he doesn't speak out against them, that we have people coming down to our meetings doing the Nazi salute and openly bashing the rest of the council and praising him and derailing the meetings, is completely childlike behavior on his part.
And you can see the BuzzFeed footage where you see those the people that go up and talk on the podium. They get their 2 minutes to speak to the council, and they openly say, Jack Guerrero, you're doing a good job, and the rest of you are not. The rest of you are little boys. The rest of you are this. The rest of you are that. And it's funny that you say that he abstained his vote from the sanctuary city issue now, because all those people, seem to be under the idea that he's against the sanctuary cities, but he didn't even have the heart to vote no.
Right. And it's just typical. It's almost Donald Trump-like behavior on his part, where he will speak out of both sides of his mouth. He will bring evidence without, or he'll try to promote a solution without having any sort of evidence, or without being able to show a cause for the arguments that he's trying to make. And it's just dumbfounding, to be honest, and completely disrespectful for our community. I know that my family came from 2 different countries, came from Croatia and from Mexico, and we are not just a family of immigrants, my wife's family and I, but the whole city, the whole country is a country of immigrants. And whether it's legal immigration or not, it shouldn't even matter. If you are willing to risk your life to come to this country, I am proud to share this country with you. If you are willing to risk your life going through a desert, swimming over a river, riding a crummy boat into this country, again, I am proud to share this country with you.
It's interesting that you say that, because I actually, not too long ago, I've been having a family that's been coming over to visit from Guatemala, and, they have their conversations, and I kind of just listen in, kind of sit in the background and see how my family, interacts with each other, since I know nothing about, my culture, because I've never actually been to Guatemala, but my dad was telling this story about how when he took his journey to cross over to the United States, he went with a buddy of his named Randy and a stranger. They went together, and halfway through their journey, the stranger ended up passing out from heat exhaustion, and they didn't know whether they were going to continue on without him or not. But my father, being the man that he is, decided he was going to carry this man for basically a day and a half until this man came to, and he wasn't going to leave him behind. And they ended up crossing together. That man recently reached out to my father over the phone recently, and told him, man, like, I never told you this, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made it. And I think that's the struggle that these people who don't understand, they don't understand this struggle, because they're privileged. They live in the United States, whether they're first gen or not. They have forgotten what people go through to come here.
Yeah.
So why would somebody go through that to be a criminal here? Or go through that and then come in here and be a rapist, or whatever you want to call us or say that we do. We're here to work. They're here to work. And, if it wasn't for my dad taking that journey, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. And I think that's something that I think these conservatives, or, Trump supporters, whatever you want to call them, they need to start putting themselves in that position of, what if you lived in a place that you couldn't live in anymore? What if you lived in a place that wasn't providing you with what you needed to survive? Right. Do you stay there? Do you stay and die there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So that's definitely something huge. And I think that's why it's great that you came on here tonight, and we have our conversation, and definitely start pushing the other side of this conversation, because if I always say this, that these conservatives, they're spewing that hate, and that rhetoric, but they're good at organizing it too. They're very good at hitting up, whatever people they need to talk to. Hey, come here at this time. We're gonna rally. We're gonna protest or whatever. And you saw it there with the BuzzFeed footage. It was full of Trump supporters and almost nobody on the other side. So I think I think we can't brush it off anymore as just conservatives being who they are. We need to start showing up. And what do you think is the best way to get people to start showing up for the liberal side or the progressive side or just the side that wants to show solidarity with these sanctuary cities?
I think the message that needs to get out there is that these people that come to our town and talk all this hate about sanctuary cities and undocumented folks in general should not speak on our behalf. They do not live here in Cudahy or in the Southeast in general. And they come from either the South Bay or from Riverside or from San Bernardino, or even I'm from Salinas, from the Inland Empire. They come far and wide to come to Cudahy, like you said. They are really good at organizing, and they don't mind sitting in traffic to get out here. Mm-hmm. And I think that what we need to do is encourage people to come out and show that who people are that live here, true people from Cudahy, true people from the Southeast. And it's not just limited to a Cudahy issue. They're coming down to Huntington Park. They went to Maywood. They went to Bell. Like, these people are coming in and coming into the Southeast as a whole. And the Southeast needs to get together and show that Southeast people are moms, dads, brothers, sisters. They work. They have jobs. They go to school. And what they need to do is just come out and show that we're not alone in this. Like, this is a struggle for our community, and we need to fight for our identity back, not just as the ignorant Mexicans, but as hardworking Americans.
Absolutely, man. I'm with you on that 100%. I think with that, we're going to sign it off. But is there anything that you want to say before we leave, Cristian Markovich?
Not anything in particular. Just thanks for having me on here.
Thanks for being my first guest, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm really hoping that we could talk more about other issues in the future, not just Cudahy and the Southeast in general, but I'm sure we could talk for days about what's been going on in the Trump administration alone, just for the past couple weeks that he's been in office, but also just ideas in general. I think that during this time, it's difficult to get people to share their ideas and their thoughts without being criticized or ridiculed. And I think that if more ideas are spread, the healthier our democracy will be.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that was our podcast. Let me. Yay! We got through it. We did it. I love this thing. This is great. If any of you guys want to know really what software I'm using here, this is actually Speaker Studio. It's really useful, and I downloaded it in one night, and I'm putting it to use now. So, yeah, if you're out there and maybe you have some different views than I do or than Cristian Markovich here does, man, just put it out there, definitely could use more ideas out there, and it just takes initiative, guys. Make sure you come out to the next council meeting if you're from Cudahy. That's going to be February, let me look on my calendar, February 27th.
Yes.
So let's make sure that we come out and we show support for our council members, for our mayor. Let's make sure that we provide an opposition for these guys who think that they can come to our council meetings and just say whatever they want and use those alternative facts. We have to show up and make sure that we're fighting also for our side, and be just as organized as they are. So with that, man, this was the first episode of Local Look. Thank you, anybody who was listening, and we'll see you again soon, man. God bless.